Hi, it's Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Going to talk about the 1996 film, The Long Kiss Goodnight, in its Arrow 4K edition. We are living in a great time for home video. I know there was talk of it dying, but it's actually resurging. And these boutique labels are getting films from Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema and Paramount, and they're doing very nice special editions of them. Now, this didn't come in one of those Arrow boxes, but this 1996 film, 30 years old, it's a Shane Black film. He wrote it, made by Renny Harlan. He directed Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger and Cutthroat Island. Anyway, Deep Blue Sea, which came out in an Arrow 4K edition earlier this year, or last year. Long Kiss Goodnight is the story of Gina Davis. She, through narration, tells you that she woke up with no memory of who she is. She was a couple months pregnant, has no recollection of her past. Now she has a family. She's going through her life. Things happen. This is a Shane Black movie. She starts as being Mrs. Claus at a Christmas parade. So it's another Shane Black script that takes place during Christmas. She eventually intersects with a former policeman played by Samuel L. Jackson, and they go on an adventure together to find out who she really is, who's trying to kill her because she was on TV at the beginning and that outed her. She's been disappeared for a while. You find out there's a mystery to the whole thing, but it's really an excuse to stage some really great action scenes, some fun comedy, some over-the-top stuff, actually. Gina Davis did most of her own stunts for this. Samuel L. Jackson is younger than you remember him, and he's really playing a great Samuel L. Jackson role in this. There are some other great actors that feature in the film, including Brian Cox and David Morse, who I love. Guillermo Navarro did the cinematography. It looks amazing in this new 4K edition from Arrow. Came out in 2025. They not only went back to the original negative with a Dolby Vision scan and HDR, but Dolby Atmos. Alan Silvestri did the music, and it comes through the Atmos incredibly. I watched the whole 2-hour movie in Atmos. When this movie came out, it had a $65 million budget, which was a lot of money for an action movie. I just reviewed The Nice Guys. That movie's only 10 years old and had a $50 million budget. This, 30 years ago, had a $65 million budget and grossed just under $100 million at 95.5. It was considered successful, but not a huge hit. Back in the day, you could make almost double your money back and do okay. Now it's 2.5 to 3 times your money to make because of marketing costs and things like that. It's a classic Shane Black script with everything you want in it. There's a mystery, there's some nudity, there's some action scenes, there's some really bad guys, there's some over-the-top stuff. Our main characters get put in some serious peril but triumph through. There's opportunity for Samuel L. Jackson to say MF a whole bunch of times, which is wonderful. Yeah, this was a throwback in certain ways, but it also, like I said, I just watched The Nice Guys. Nice Guys is a throwback to this kind of movie. Written by Shane Black, there's more meat on its bones than your average action movie that came out in the 80s, 90s, and modern times. He creates real characters that inhabit these stories, that bump into each other in weird ways. Funny ways sometimes, horrible ways in other times. Action-packed ways and sometimes as well. There's some over-the-top stunts. There's a scene where Samuel L. Jackson gets blown out of a window. An amazing practical effect. We're so used to CG these days. It was so nice, whether it was a human or a dummy in that chair that got blown out the window into a tree and falls to the ground. It was done in such a way that it was practical and it was perfect. And it was just awesome. They embellished the explosion a little bit with some CGI fire, but for the most part, it's a practical effect with a little bit of enhancement. These were the days of that because we really couldn't do whole scenes, and so they still had to do things practically. There is a new extra. When I reviewed The Nice Guys, a second sight release from the UK, there are brand new extras on that. Same thing with this Arrow release, which is also a US release. You can get this in the United States. Brand new extras. The stunt guy calls this, in his 42 years of making movies, the hardest shoot he ever did. The stunts are insane. Some of them they wouldn't even do now. They would CGI it because it's too dangerous. Gina Davis does some incredible stuff, getting dunked in the water and other things. They're trying to drown her. I was pretty impressed with the movie. And this was a movie I've always loved. I had the original DVD. I'm not sure I had the Blu-ray, though. And I really wasn't going to pick it up. It was one of those movies I was going to leave back in 1996. But the reviews came out, and I was looking to get some of these things for the year-end 4K releases. That's why you haven't seen one yet. And this is one of the great releases. I don't know that it ranks high enough as some of those box sets, but my list of 4K releases is actually quite long for 2025. Another reason why this is taking so long. This is an amazing release of a movie, and if you like this movie or love this movie, get this, because the extras, there's some non-disc swag, as they say. There's a sticker for the thin ice sign that you see in the movie, which I didn't know why the sticker was relevant until I rewatched the movie. Okay. There's also a Christmas card in there with Samuel L. Jackson dressed nice on the front, and you flip it over, it says Merry Christmas. Well, you know. There's also a booklet involved. It's a really nice set, hard slipcover, reversible artwork with the old artwork or the new artwork, and there's a poster with the old artwork and the new artwork. You can get this for between $30 and $35. On sale, it'd probably be under $30. Highly recommend it. It's a great action movie. It's a Shane Black action movie. He wrote it. Renny Harlan was really working at the height of his powers. Some of the action scenes are as good as anything you saw in the 90s and on par with things we see today. Pretty impressed with this overall. Nice job to Arrow and the boutique labels for keeping some of these smaller movies alive. And rewatching them now, you realize how much craft went into these things, and we're not just pooping things out in a couple months for streaming services. There have been some decent movies and decent shows on streaming services. I'm not pooping on all of them, but this was a theatrical film that feels like a film from beginning to end and plays so much bigger, better, and more powerful than anything that's come out in the last few years on a streaming service. This is how you do it. And unfortunately, it didn't do so well back then. Hopefully it finds an audience now. The Arrow 4K edition, super high marks, and the movie is super fun. Best it's ever looked and sounded. The Atmos, seriously, best it's ever sounded. So check it out. The Long Kiss Goodnight is available now. You can even find it on sale these days. Pick it up. Gina Davis is great. Samuel L. Jackson is great. You'll enjoy it. Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.